Hi, this is Beef Lummy. I was just gonna do a quick video, whatnot stuff, playing around with a new recorder, having fun, whatever. Um, yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about loyalty. I don't feel like spelling the whole thing. I'm lazy. Um, but loyal, something that characters need is loyalties, especially when it comes to characters within like the main characters in a story. They need to have loyalty to one another and trust. They have to be able to trust one another. Um, this is, I feel, very important, and because I'm interested in writing books, and I'm also a role player in role playing games and RPGs. Uh, I realize that this is something that in a book they have the ability, because you only have one player, you only have one person playing the book out. You don't have any really conflict with ideas or personalities. You get to choose where the uh, the characters go, and you have a little bit of wiggle room because if one character's mad at another character, then you can figure out how to get them back together and whatever stuff, and you have a lot more liberty to have the characters fight. So in a book you have a lot more liberty with this concept. But in role-playing games, when you're making a character, um, I feel like this is something that needs to be addressed more, is trust. So it's a lot stricter. And the reason why is, in a role-playing game, if your characters don't trust one another, if you don't, what I'm trying to say is, when you start making your character, you have to lay that down as the first number one rule: is they need to be able to trust. You know, I don't really care a whole lot what your character is, or what they're good at, or what nationality they are, or whatever. But if you're playing a role playing game, they have to be able to trust the party, or trust maybe just people in general. But the party more so. They need to be able to trust the party and the members of the party. And the fact that if there's going to be conflicts within a party, people are going to have different ideas, and you're not, the characters aren't always going to get along, and you can't always be butting heads, because especially if it's a group where you've been playing for a long time with these characters, and someone's invested a lot in their character, it's going to get personal. Whether or not you like it, it's going to be a very personal problem. If your character's mad at their character, it becomes personal. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you're meaning to, it just happens, because we take pride and joy as humans in the things that we create. And so if they're mad at your character, it's like they're insulting your character or your views or whatever, and so it goes straight to you, and there's not a whole lot of communication. And so maybe people need to realize that it's just a game, and that's hard. Um, but I feel like this can be avoided, this personal insult, if you make sure that the characters can trust one another. Um, and so, sure, you're going to have disagreement. That's the nature of playing a role-playing game. So you have disagreement. Oh my, I wonder how that happened. But disagreement happens, and instead of having arguments and fighting, what needs to happen is there needs to be a little give and a little take. For instance, let me try to think of something on the top of my head. Let's say you have a very, like a knight, and you have a thief of some kind. The thief steals something, from some random commoner or something like that, and the knight's upset. And so they have a disagreement, and if they don't trust one another, and they don't, the characters don't really care about one another, maybe that's, you can add that into trust as care. If they don't trust each other or care about one another, What you will have is, this agreement will lead to a dysfunctional party, dysfunctional group, and that will lead to a split in the party. And this is an inevitable chain of events if it's not taken, if the disagreement is left to itself. But I think maybe these arrows should be going the other way. I think if these two people who disagree can give and take, maybe this time the knight says, okay, that was wrong, you shouldn't have taken that. So he takes, did I misspell take? I'm not in my right mind today, I'm sorry. I don't know if I honestly can't tell. But if he can take, he gets this right of saying, you shouldn't have done that, and the thief should give away his right to saying, oh, I should have done that. He gives it away to the knight and says, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I'll go give it back, or, I'm sorry, here, you take it, you take care of it, or whatever. And that way, they care about one another, they trust each other, and very quickly you can resolve disagreements, and get, stop all of this nasty stuff from happening, and you can instead just continue forward. And maybe sometimes the thief can say, oh, I needed this for a specific reason, the person I stole it from didn't need it, maybe it wasn't right, but we're kind of a desperate situation here, so let me be. And the knight can give that time and say, okay, maybe it wasn't the best option, but, it's done, we got what we needed, so I'm going to let it go. And this will prevent bad things. So like I said, in a book you have more liberty. This happens in a book, but you have one player, and so they can negotiate all of this in their head very quickly and figure it out, and you don't see any of the work that goes into it, because someone who writes a book can think about it for however they want, and it's just one person. But in a role-playing game, I feel like this is a big thing. Yeah, tell me what you think. I'm going to try to do things like this more often, because I like just whatever, smiley face. That's a creepy smiley face. But hopefully this wasn't too long, and thanks for watching. See ya.